episode 29, Indian Dads Abroad, USA. Hey Nadir, welcome to Unlock 1.0. How is your freedom?
I still haven't left home. I'm still very much at home.
Same.
I don't think I want to go home because the news says something else and the people outside the homes are doing something else. So it's a little weird. We're all trying to be as careful as possible. So for us, nothing much has changed, honestly. Yeah, the noise outside has increased clearly. So again, the traffic sounds are back, the honking is back, the loud talking is back. You can literally hear people on the road. So yeah, that's how things are. What about you?
Not much, man. I mean, so far, I'm just kind of in the mindset that we're still under lockdown in a way. And yeah, considering the cases in our city, Mumbai, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But yeah, we can go on and on about this. But I'm really glad about our next guest on Father's Month. And it's someone that you've known for a long time. And in the short time that I've known him, I can see why you wanted him as a guest.
Yeah. So our next guest is Mr. Yunus Daginawala. He's another of my childhood friends, known him since school, and he's quite a prankster. But deep down, I think he feels he's a superstar, and he tries his best to kind of bring that out, even in his real life. So.
Yeah,
and he's a fun guy. He's a really fun guy. So you just have to hear him for the next 1 hour.
It was quite an interesting chat with him, and I don't think we should go on about it. Let's straight dive into it. Here's Yunus.
What's up, Yunus?
Hey, Nadir, how are you?
What's happening?
Nothing. I just came from work, so yeah, that's the deal. Right now.
Thank you so much for doing this late at night. I mean, I know you have a nice Sunday to look forward to, so we really appreciate that you giving us all this time.
No, I appreciate it really. I really appreciate it.
So just to give a quick introduction of Yunus. Yunus has been my childhood friend. I remember that day very well, where he joined the school that I was studying in when he was in the 5th standard. And his mother was sitting in the class early in the morning. I enter class and I see this new kid in the class and his mother's right there. And he's furiously taking down notes and like, who's this guy? And then his mother realized that, I belong to the same community. Even I'm a Dawoodi Bora. So he's like, Beta, take care of him, okay? He's just joined. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I was like, yeah, poor guy, such an innocent guy. Obviously, I was wrong in estimating what Yunus was. Ever since we've always hung out together because we all the boys in our group, in our friend circle, we all lived in the same area, and we used to just meet up every weekend during school and practically every day during the vacations and play whatever we could. So yeah, that's
right.
Today he's in LA, US. So I've seen a major shift, from what Yunus was once upon a time. He was a big barrel or little twigs of his leg. Transformed. So yeah, that is for me. But what's that journey been like? Tell us.
I mean, like for me, it was just I truly believe in destiny, and coming to US was destined, because I remember telling my parents that I'll just go for 1 year and I'll try it out. If it works. If it does not work, I'm out of here. I'll come back. And my dad was like, he told me, like, you know what, even when you want to come back, don't make a hasty decision. Just stay there and see what's happening, because nothing changes overnight. So keep calm and let's see what happens. So I'm here. I've been thinking almost every year to come back to Bombay, but I don't think so now. It's going to happen is because I've established myself in business and all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, please. I don't think you should come back.
But I must say, that Nadir really was telling me all about, growing up and all the various things. So I was really looking forward to having this chat with you. You also briefly told me about your wedding, and I'm very curious to know the complete story and from your side. But so you got married here in Bombay and then moved to LA, but your wife is American. So just tell
No,
us
no,
about
no.
that whole thing.
Like my wife, yeah, was already a US citizen, and she's been here in US for like 20 plus years now.
Okay.
And when she came to India, and I think those days, it was like people were just, all my friends and stuff were just getting engaged, and all this stuff was going on. So I'm like, I don't want to be left left behind. so, so apparently, I met my wife, and through a friend, and so it was like we were going outside somewhere, and my friend just introduced me to her and stuff. So it was like, okay, let's go out, and then I asked her for a date, and we went out on a first date to I forgot the name of the place. That's bad, but yeah, we went out on a date, and then from there, we started liking each other. But apparently, she had to come back to US. So what we decided, let's tell our parents. And she was leaving in like 15 days, and so I said, let's tell our parents that we are seeing each other. And so our parents were like, they directly jumped into the wagon, and they said, okay, get engaged. I said, all right. Okay.
This actually sounds very familiar for me, but yeah, go on.
Yes, so it's like, we were engaged for almost 4 years, and we kept the long distance relationship for 4 years. That was pretty painful, like.
Wow. So I thought, wow, Nadir, 4 years.
Yeah.
That's like, and that too long distance courtship. I think that's like truly like a test of sorts, right? Because I don't know how many people in today's day and age would kind of do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, to be like so far away for 4 years, and the time difference, like,
Yeah.
if it's morning here, it's night there, it's night here, morning there. So when I'm working, she is coming back from work, and when she's coming back from work, and I'm going to sleep, all this kind of stuff. So it wasn't easy. Yeah.
Oh, was there something where both of you were realizing that, okay, now we have to like kind of speed up this marriage process or something like that? Was there like any incident or anything during that time?
I mean, initially when we got engaged, we did not think of that, 4 years we are going to extend this thing. But I don't know where the time went, how the time went, and it just got prolonged and prolonged and prolonged. And finally, both our parents said, what, this is it, man. This is, I mean, you cannot prolong a engagement for 4 years. Come on now.
Yeah.
For 4 years that you remain engaged in this long distance relationship, at the back of your mind, you would have already known that, migration to the US is imminent. It's going to happen. So were you planning, or were you talking, you and Zainab, your wife, were you talking in these 4 years? Like, what happened in that 4 years when it came to these logistical issues?
Like, yeah, we were talking, but I was still not 100% that if I want to migrate to US. I'm too much of a DC guy, man. Seriously. So for me to come to US and all this stuff is like, and I'm not even, there wasn't any passion for me to settle abroad or anything.
Right.
And I was never excited about it. It's like, ho gaya, so you know what, let's do it kind of a thing. So we did speak, like, and Zainab, on the other hand, was always open from the beginning. Like, doesn't matter where we settle down, I am more than happy to settle with you wherever you want, So yeah, it was. So I mean, you guys are taking me down the memory lane. That's good. So yeah, so yeah, the 4 years were very tough, because those days I used to go to a cyber cafe to speak to my wife on Skype.
Wow.
We didn't have all this luxury of Zoom and all this stuff.
Now this is like a proper throwback.
Yeah.
Going to cyber cafes and all of that.
And I remember the owner of the cyber cafe, would see me sitting on the computer for like 2 hours and stuff. And the one day finally asked me, the person whom you talk with, who is she? I said, it's not it is not a cyber girlfriend or anything. She's my fiance.
That's okay.
So yeah.
So 4 years of your engagement, and then at what point did the wedding, the whole wedding scene come up? Like how did you guys then finally graduate to the wedding stage?
It's what happened was, my dad took the initiative of looking for halls and stuff. You know how it is in Mumbai, like
Yeah.
you have to book a hall like a year back or something and all this stuff. So that's how the process actually started. Was the first thing I remember. We went to Kolaba because the Noorbag Hall bookings are done in Kolaba.
Oh.
That's where that's how we went about. And you know what, to be honest with you, like my wedding thing, Nader knows about this, that I did not even have shoes spot for my wedding day, and I went that evening to actually buy shoes. I don't know. Yeah, I've always been a very laid back guy. I really don't. I had I had invited my neighbors, of course, for my wedding, and 8 o'clock was the time when everybody is supposed to come to the hall, or it was 7 o'clock already, and I was just sitting outside my house and chilling with my other friend, and my neighbor comes and asks me, your wedding is today, right? I said, yeah, my wedding is today. So like, so I've always been a very laid back guy. I really don't stress over things.
Yeah, that explains the 4-year engagement.
Yeah.
I mean, Zainab has to be very patient with you to kind of stay engaged with you for 4 years and then decide to get married. It's like, yeah, okay, fine, okay, thankfully he's doing good with it, So, but in terms of actually agreeing or coming to a decision that okay, finally we're getting married. You guys must be chatting on a regular basis that okay, if not this year, then next year. If not next year, then the following year. So. That gap.
No.
Were you always deciding that?
No, actually, the first year passed away, the second year passed away, and then we were like, okay, I think it's time to get married or something. And then I seriously, to be honest with you, it was very chill. I mean, if the parents were not involved so much, I would have extended the engagement for another 4 years or something. To be honest, seriously, it's like कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा था, I was like, चल रही है जिंदगी kind of a thing,
Yeah. But so did you move straight to the US after you all got married, or was there a gap again between that?
Oh yeah, there was a gap of around 8 months after we got married.
Wow.
Yeah. So what we did was I came to United States, and I went to Dallas first, is because that's where she used to live with her parents, and then I got the opportunity to start my own business in LA, and so I moved to LA.
Considering, and now that I know you a little better, the lifestyle we live here in India versus US, there's like, it's poles apart, right? There's a lot of difference. Here we're used to certain luxuries like, domestic help and stuff like that. Was like moving to the US, living to the US, like a huge cultural shock for you? How did you kind of adjust to that? Just like the initial year of marriage, because again, you'll have been apart for 4 years. Now you're suddenly living together. How was that initial period like?
I mean, when I moved here, it was like, firstly, it's very clean. It's extremely clean. So that was a shocker to me. I mean, like I wouldn't even see anything on the street. Like it was spick and spank, and it was and first 6 months I did not even have work permit. So I was basically I was quarantined for 6 months, kind of a thing. I was in my house, locked down, doing nothing. I couldn't work because I didn't have work permit, and I did not want to take up any job illegal. Because what if something goes wrong and then you're not even getting what you are trying to apply for? So I was just patiently just chilling at home for 6 months. I used to play Farmville a lot. I don't know if you guys remember on Facebook. I used to catch all these chickens and all this stuff, all day long. So yeah, those were, and Shabir was the person who actually, the friend who came in your previous episode. He was the one who actually forced me to join Facebook, because that's the only way those days we could stay in touch. There was no WhatsApp or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was there was certainly a change. I used to keep quiet a lot. I'm not a quiet person, but I used to keep quiet a lot because it's like I used to find very awkward with people in the beginning, because the kind of games they used to play and all this stuff was, I mean, we only play cricket, what else we played?
Yeah.
It was over here with American football and all this stuff, so yeah, it was different, but it was nice. I gradually, I adjusted to it.
So it must have been like a mixed emotion for you, because finally after I think a period of 5 years, you're finally living with your wife, and I'm sure the first thing you're thinking like, oh my god, I think the long distance was better, and I don't know whatever.
If I say something, this is going to be forever, so I'll just keep quiet right now.
but I have to bring this up with the episode now, because not only we've been married for so long, but you also have 2 kids, and kids who are slightly older.
Right.
Have you shared your courtship period or told your kids about it? And do they have because I'm sure I'm at this point cannot believe that somebody 5 years you'll have been apart, and still, of course, kids don't get it, but still they would also be like, what, 5 years? Really? You waited to
Right.
go to a long distance?
I think my oldest son, who is 8 years old, he doesn't know the story that we were engaged for so long and all this stuff. I'm pretty sure, I'll share this one day with him. But for him right now also, he watches movies and stuff, and he just feels like, that's the way the husband and wife should be living and all this stuff. Whenever we argue also, my son is like, why you guys keep fighting all the time? I said, I smile and say, it's okay. We'll see one day when you get married.
Yeah, it's like my son recently, because the lockdown has been so frustrating for us and stuff,
Right.
and small things kind of tick you off. So my son sometimes comes to us, and if we're fighting, and it's like, "Mommy, Daddy, no fighting. Police come and take you. I call the police." And we're like, "What? Where did you pick this up from?"
Right.
In the US, that's actually a proper thing.
A proper thing over here. Yeah, seriously, it's he watches all this movies and stuff with us. I try to avoid watching obviously anything that is over PG-13 and stuff. But whenever he sees us argue, he always comes and tells, I hope you guys are not going to leave each other and go. Are you guys going to stay?
Oh my God! Yeah,
I say, yeah. Why would you say that? No, I think that's what television shows. I said, stop watching TV.
But it's very interesting point that you brought up right now. I'm sorry, we are kind of jumping the gun, but it's relevant what you just said. Do you feel that being an Indian parent and the way you've been brought up by your parents will have a very strong effect on your children? Because the kind of cinema and entertainment that you guys watch in the US, having divorced parents, co-parenting, all of that, it's normal, right? But
very normal.
Yeah, but for someone like you guys, where I don't want to I don't want to slot people right now in this, But I'm sure at some point the whole Indian custom tradition would play a very important role. So you clearly are, you and Zainab both are clearly doing something to kind of ensure that your kids get that cultural experience of India as well. But how is that different from living in a completely alien land like America?
I mean, the best thing that has happened to us was, even me moving to LA. We moved very close to our mosque, right? So whatever we practice, the kids go to madrasa and all this stuff, and that's where they learn a lot of manners. To be honest with you, my son, the oldest one, he behaves a little differently when he's in school. But when he's in madrasa, he behaves differently. And whatever the teachings he gets in madrasa, he comes home and he practices those. He's like, he understands you shouldn't back answer. He understands, what is right and what is wrong and all this stuff. So that is good. I mean, again, this is what I think about children. Okay, you put seeds inside the earth, all right, eventually it becomes a plant, correct? Now you, as a gardener, you take care of the plant for how much ever time, till the time the plant doesn't become a tree.
Sure.
Correct? You make sure that you put water and all this stuff. But once it becomes a tree, then you don't have anything to say. Is because you can't say that, okay, I want this particular branch to grow in a certain way. It's done.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the foundation is important. And we, as of course, now I can understand that why my parents were always so much behind me getting like manners and all the stuff, so that they build the foundation so I don't go into the bad track of life. And that's all we are doing right now, is like keeping our kids, that respect and discipline and all this stuff. But again, I'm not a very I am a strict parent. I do not show emotions to my kids. Like, if I tell him something no, he listens to me. He gets it that, okay, I've said no. And also when I was raising him, my favorite word was no. So out of yeah, I swear, I mean, out of 100 things he has asked me, 99.99 times I have said no. And then out of a blue, I would say yes to one thing. And I think that, I don't know, for some reason, I just feel that thing has helped me a lot, because I see kids, when you go to a shopping mall or something, and they want something, they will throw tantrums and they will just sleep on the ground and all this stuff, makes you a little embarrassed, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite word, no, really helped me so far.
but I totally understand what you're talking about, is because when I was growing up, including when I was in my teens and stuff like that, a lot of things my parents told me, I kind of gave them back and stuff like that. And my dad always said that, you know what, wait, you'll remember this day when you're a parent. Then
Correct,
you remember what I'm telling you. And sometimes now, it just I can still hear those words so clearly. It's like
Karma.
Karma. Yeah. And then I'll have these conversations with my dad, and I'll tell him that I'm like, hey, my son is doing this, and he'll just smile, and I'm like, oh boy.
Right.
he's stopping short. His smile is like, I told you, but I'm not going to say I told you.
So true, so true. I mean, whatever we actually used to do in back of a parent, I'm pretty sure even he does a lot of stuff. One day I found a piece of cake underneath his pillow, a cake. So at night, he actually got up, opened the fridge, took the cake, and he was eating. And he ate how much he could eat. And he wanted a place to hide, right? So he just shoved the cake underneath the pillow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How did you react to that?
I mean, I was furious, but then I was laughing also, like, what the heck? One good thing about US is, it's like you don't get ants so fast, like unlike India.
Oh, yeah. Oh God. It's like like few grains of sugar and the entire.
That's it. Yeah. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen over here. That's good.
We've already started talking about the kids, but let's take a few steps back. Okay, so there was a quick recap. You had your 4-year engagement, then you got married in India. There was a 8-year, almost 8 months, almost a year gap. Then you moved to the US, Dallas. 6 months again, you didn't do anything. So there are a lot of gaps right in between, and then finally the marriage is taking shape, right?
Right.
And then you got work and all of that happened. Now, when did you guys decide together that, okay, now is the time to finally be parents? I think we are ready. Did those stages, those layers come into your thinking? What was that like?
I mean, I never had a problem being a dad or anything. Like, there was no planning involved for sure. There was none. One of our friends.
Nothing. Yeah, I just like went.
Yeah, honestly, that's what it was. You know, one of our common friends. You know, so his wife got pregnant, and then he calls me, like, you know, being very emotional and all this stuff. You know what, dude, even you got to become a father, man. I said, like, why would you say that? He said, see, you're growing old. you don't want such a big gap between you and your kid and all this stuff. And I don't know, that thing stuck in my head. I'm like, I swear to God, all right, I'm 100% sure that night my wife conceived.
Oh my God!
Wow.
I swear, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I just told my wife, you know what? You know, everybody comes with their own destiny. I know I cannot work right now because of I do not have a work permit. But why would that stop us from having a child or anything? And actually, when people came to know that Zainab is pregnant, they were like, they actually had this question: this guy doesn't have a job. Zainab is a student, and she's pregnant.
Wow.
She's pregnant. So,
But-
and I was like, big deal, you know. Eventually, we will have work.
But
I mean, like, I mean, Nader and I have talked a lot, and we did an entire couple of episodes on planning. But that must have been like a tough time, right? Or like, how did you all kind of work that around? Because, like you said, your situation where you're not working,
Right.
your wife's a student. How did that? Because, like, I'm very curious, considering you said, you know, it's all about destiny. How did that all play out then?
So, like, that time, my in-laws were in Boston those days, but they had a house in Dallas. So we were living in that house, right?
Okay.
And when she conceived also and all this stuff, we actually never had any initial help from anybody because my parents were in Bombay. Her parents were in Boston. Her parents were in Boston. Her parents were actually so tied up also during when she delivered that they couldn't even come from Boston. They came after, I think, a couple of weeks, but they were not able to come. Yeah, because of the work, they were not able to come at the time of delivery. So I would say that the initial years, like 4 or 5 years, I would say, yeah, I mean, Burhanuddin just grew up with us, you know, and I have no idea how we pulled it off. You know, actually, there are people who actually give examples of us. Oh, look at these guys, you know, they had no help and they did it. I have no idea how I did it. it just happened, you know. And
so during the delivery, it was just you.
Just me.
Wow.
Yeah. So
no, and that's a great thing because, like, you know how we were talking in our earlier episodes, how like in India you have the tradition, right? Like the first child is born in the mother's family and all. So you all didn't kind of follow any of that.
No, nothing. I mean, like we actually after she gave birth, we went to the doctor, and apparently our doctor was an Indian doctor, and we asked her that, you know, we have seen like in a back home we give massage and stuff to the kid. And she started laughing. I said, are we supposed to hire somebody to give massage and all this stuff? And she's like, that's a very Indian culture, you know. Don't worry, nothing is going to happen to your baby if you don't give massage. I said, okay.
But similar thing. I mean, since of course you were so involved in the first few years, was there something like, you know, her parents or your parents wanting to do certain cultural things, like the massage is a good example.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, y'all couldn't do it. Was there? Do you feel a gap or a discrepancy, or it was just okay for you?
I mean, so what happened was in Dallas we have a very huge community of Indians, and with that we have very huge community of from our religion also. So we and Zainab obviously was living there for 10 years. So we had those friends and stuff, coming over and doing the ceremony and all this stuff. I had no idea, to be honest with you. If you, I don't know if there's a recording to it. I was just standing in the corner and just watching whatever they they wanted to do. They just went ahead and did it, kind of a thing.
But then, how is the whole thing? Because after your second is a son or a daughter?
Son, yeah, the second one is also
Oh,
son.
so now after
Son.
your first son and the
Mhm.
entire experience, was there again a plan, or there was no plan again for the second child?
So the second this is a very funny thing also about the second child. There is a 6 years gap in the second child,
Okay.
and Zainab was studying, so we didn't want her studies to you know in with the child and stuff, because she was doing dental hygienist, and
Okay.
after a certain period of your pregnancy you cannot take x-rays and all this stuff, how it is.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing which we were but as soon as she finished her studies, and we said that's it. So I think after she finished her studies, in those 2 or 3 days, I think she conceived. So we,
Wow.
we were ready for the second one. I said, because there was always the number two. We wanted two, like, and we were okay. And from the beginning, we were okay whether boy or a girl. It didn't matter to
Yeah.
us, whatever it was. But
But
we
you
we always wanted two.
kids.
Yeah, we always
Okay.
wanted two kids. Yeah.
And was there anything that learnings that you had from your first son that kind of helped you in the second time round, or it was new child, new experience, everything?
Oh no, the second one actually. So what happened was, my in-laws then moved from Boston to LA, and so my second child is 2 years old now, but he is super pampered, like extremely pampered.
Yeah.
And like some of the things which I don't agree with, obviously, but how grandparents are for
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
So I do not interfere, otherwise it's a chaos in the house. So I just I just take a step back, like let them do what they want to do.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
ultimately, you have to pay for their education, so they have to.
Absolutely. It's
So,
like with my oldest son, I would actually, if you would do something wrong, I would scold him, kind of a thing. But with this youngest one, even if I do it right now, he just laughs at me and runs away. So
wow.
I'm like, so it's like, and I'm like, okay, and I cannot say anything because of my or because of the Zainab's parents over here. Like, okay.
But is there? I mean, of course,
So it's funny.
Nadir and I both are older kids, so we can attest to this. But is there any like sibling rivalry or stuff like that so far?
Oh no, nothing. The older one is very protective about the younger one, and the younger one is funny case is because he just does exactly whatever the older one does. So if the older one is sleeping in a certain position, he wants to sleep in a certain position. If he is playing a certain game, he wants to play that certain game.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like with my second child, I think it's a blessing, to be honest, to have my in-laws here right now, because they have really helped a lot, and they do take care of both the kids now, actually, because we both are working, and it's really helpful right now.
But since at least your older one is now school going,
Yeah.
how's the? I mean, because we've again spoken in the last few episodes about the whole aspect of that comes to that aspect of parenting, which is putting your kid in school. I'm assuming your son goes to a public school now.
Correct. Yeah. So, yeah. So when my wife used to go to study, so I used to drop my son to school, and this was like everyday ritual. Okay, every single day. I used to take him in my car. I used to tell him, okay, no hitting anybody, no biting anybody, no slapping anybody, no punching anybody, no going to girls' bathroom. Every single day, I had to tell him. And guess what? When I used to pick him up, and I used to ask him, "What did you do today?" And he would tell me all the things he never did. So he said, "I didn't hit anybody. I didn't slap anybody. I didn't punch anybody. I didn't go to girls' bathroom." Every single day. I'm not kidding. This was like every single day for at least a year and a half.
You do realize that he's still a child, right? He's not gonna
and
go to school.
and you know what, this is like very initial stages of him going to school. But guess what, just because we did it for so long, like a year and a half, he still remembers that. And he still
Wow.
he tells me, remember that you used to tell me that, no hitting anybody, no punching anybody.
You know why, Peter? He's probably doing that because this is exactly what Yunus did in his school. Once someone, he would go hit someone, he would go fight someone, he would go to the girls' locker room.
But how is, I mean, like, again, coming back to what we talked about, the cultural aspect. Now again, Nadir and you went to school together, which was a very different experience. And now, as a parent, your son's going to a public school, which is a completely different system, a complete different way of teaching.
Right.
How does that, I mean, like, because in your mind, schooling is a certain way. In India, we're so used to the rote system, we just kind of mug up most of it. And that's how most of us kind of pass
Correct.
not only schooling,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
also degrees and stuff. So
Yeah.
how, as a parent, how do you see the difference and how do you kind of make that adjustment?
I mean, the first difference I saw, and which was very surprising to me, was he only had like 15 students in his class in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I mean, my roll number was like 53 or 54 or something, and this guy is just on like a 15 students or 20 students. That was a shocker to me. And then over here, actually, over here, teachers do take a lot of interest in kids' well-being. I do not say that in India it doesn't happen. It happens over there also, but I also understand that in India, just because the classrooms are so big with so many students, it's very difficult to pay attention on each and every student. So that's one thing which is good that happens, like smaller classrooms, so teacher can really. The other thing which my parents never did for me was like coming and watching my soccer game. I'm sorry, I'm using the word soccer, football
Yeah.
game or a basketball or anything. Over here, if I don't go, like my son would be like, okay, all the parents were there, why were you not there, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's very different. And then I tell him, what, your dada or dadi never came to watch any of my games. So he's like, so you're not going to come to watch any of my games?
Yeah, but I think, the way I've noticed it, and at least talking to everyone, is that while in India we're involved with the kids out of our choice, in abroad, it's kind of like a societal expectation that this is what
Right.
you do.
You have to do.
And if you
Yeah.
don't do it, you're like, an outsider.
You're a bad parent.
Why?
You're a bad parent. Yeah, trust me. This is what they think, just because you do not attend your kids' functions and all this stuff, they're like, okay, you're a bad parent. But, I feel like my kid is much more decent and quieter than your kid. Honestly. So yeah, that's kind of a stigma. It's a society stigma that puts on you, like, just because you do not accompany your kid everywhere, they just feel like, okay, you are just not doing your job properly. I mean,
Which is
with
very
parenting,
very ironic, considering that America stands for freedom, and
right?
they would quickly judge you that, oh, if you're not with your child, then oh, what the hell. But they'll never think
Absolutely.
the child has been brought up to be independent, to kind of embrace freedom at a young age. That's not something that'll probably pop in their head right up.
Yeah, so it's like it's something like, society is has their own rules, even though they said we don't have any rules, but they will have their own rules, and they just expect everybody to follow the rule. And if you do not follow the rule, like, you're a rebellious kind of a thing. and maybe something is wrong with your parenting, or you're not like I said, I do not show, truly I do not show emotions to my kid.
Yeah.
For a simple reason is because even if my oldest one, or even if my youngest one, if they fall down, I don't pick him up. He can
Yeah.
get up and start
That's
running again.
okay.
Yeah, over here I've seen, like, if kids fall down, or like the parent would be, oh, I'm not a guy who will say, oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Over here, parents, yeah. Like the other thing that annoys me over here is it's very funny actually. Parents, take a lot of pride in putting a bumper sticker on their car saying that my son or my kid is a student of the month. I mean, like, what? And guess what? For years they will not remove that sticker. Okay, which month was it? Seriously, they just feel like their child is their trophy. They just want to showcase it to people. Like, okay, you know what? This is our child. Our child is so brilliant in studies and all this stuff. Is, I don't know. It doesn't sink in my head. But trust me, like over here, I'm pretty sure a lot of Indian parents just wants their kids to be a doctor or an engineer or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all. Even if you ask a white person, he would say that, oh, you must be in IT. Oh, you must be a doctor. It's like, thank you.
And they're like, oh no, I own a flower shop.
Yeah, it becomes very surprising to them.
Yunus, your wife makes up for you in that aspect, huh?
Yeah, that is true. She's into medical, so yeah, that is true. My wife makes it up for it.
So,
But
now that I just want to quickly pick up on the aspect of what are the kind of responsibilities that you guys take up. So, Zainab will have obviously her set of responsibilities, and you will have your set of responsibilities. You've already mentioned that your job is to make sure that you drop your son to school and things like that. But you have a very long work day. You come back home at 9 in the night and things. So, where do your responsibilities kind of take over?
I think the good thing that has happened in past 2 years right now is my wife, as soon as she finished her dental hygienist, she actually got a job from work from home.
Oh, nice.
So she just took it. She just took it right now. She said, you know what, something is coming in, so let me just take it. But now she's liking it a lot, and she does it. She wants to pursue. It's up to her, whatever career she wants to pursue it. I've just left it to her, but she's liking the job very much right now. So this is helping me a lot because she's already working from home. So now, because for me, I actually work like anywhere from 80 to 90 hours a week.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's like for me to, it's not that I don't get a chance to spend time with my kids and all this stuff. I have ample of time, because my day starts early, with some emails and messages and all this stuff, going forward. But my wife, just because she has the work from home, so that is helping a lot right now, with our kids and stuff. Yeah, and so we are in LA, but the company she works for is based in New York.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, what happens is the time difference. She starts her work at 6 o'clock in the morning, around 6 o'clock in the morning, and she's probably done by 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah. So what my focus with my oldest one right now, I said my youngest one is just 2 years old right now. So, but my focus has always been like, anything related to sports or anything. I do take a lot of interest in that, and anything related to studies and stuff, as Zainab, takes care of that, and anything related to madrasa, like learning of Holy Quran or anything, it's taken up by my mother-in-law. So it is, the duties are pretty much, duties are nicely divided, right now. So which is very smooth.
And what about the weekends? So you guys sort of hang out together over the weekends, go out,
Yeah, I mean, it's like the weekends, like Saturday evening is what the weekend actually starts, because Saturday morning he goes to madrasa, and he is there till 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the evening. And once he comes back, we just go for a round and stuff. The same thing what we used to do in Bombay, nothing different. It's just that, instead of going to Marine Drive, we go to Beverly Hills. That's all.
And I'm laughing mainly because I'm sure Beverly Hills is far cleaner than Marine. And there's no guy selling you like bale or chana or whatever.
That is true.
One thing I want to definitely get from you is, you talked a lot about the kind of journey that you had or anything. But now that, as your son slowly inches towards like becoming a teenager
Right.
and things like that, what is one story or anything like you'd like to pass on to him? Anything that may be funny or like...
I mean, there was a very funny incident, actually, I just recall that incident while we were talking. So this was when second time I came to Mumbai, and so when I came with him, so we were actually going to somebody's house, and you know how in Mumbai some of the buildings are so close to each other, and you have the drainage and stuff right next to the buildings. So he saw a few rats over there, and I think he was like 3 years or something, 3 or 4 years, yeah. And he's telling me that, Papa, I want cheese. I'm like, why? And he didn't know what to say. He's like, no, I want cheese. I said, why do you want cheese? All right. And then he says, from he used to watch Tom and Jerry. So he said, I want cheese for the rat.
I want cheese for himself.
Yeah. This I was like, okay. So that's one thing, whenever I come to Mumbai also and I see a rat now, I swear that incident just clicks my head all the time. Like, the way he was asking for the cheese.
Yeah. But yeah, I can totally imagine. It's such a like contrast to the life that they live and growing up in. But
Mhm. And I mean, he enjoys watching Bollywood more than English movies. And I asked, he knows Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, and all this stuff. And he likes he doesn't understand completely, but he understands what's going on in the movie, But he does not know how to speak Hindi. I force him to speak our mother tongue. But I think you guys already had the conversation, in the earlier episodes. Like, how, to be honest with you, I used to think it was only my parents who used to force me to speak in English when we were in. But now I got it. It was pretty universal over there. Like my mom and my dad used to force me so much speak in English all the time.
Well,
But yeah,
so that's good.
but yeah, that's the thing. I think what happens is, like, since I studied here, and like most kids hated in Bombay growing up, studying Hindi and Marathi the most, right?
Right.
And having lived abroad and stuff like that, I never thought I would ever use Marathi. But now that I'm back living here again,
Right.
and a lot of people in your office speak Marathi, and if you can't keep up with what they're saying and they'll speak really fast and stuff, you realize that, crap, why didn't I pay more attention? So now I can be part of this conversation and all that.
No, I agree with you. Even with us, because we were in ICSE, Christchurch, we only had Marathi, I think, with another like seventh standard, fifth standard. Yeah, I mean, come on now. What are you going to
You
do?
guys were lucky, man.
Yeah.
No, but still, it was 2 years. I think they should have Marathi at least till the 10th, I would say. So
I did SSC till the 10th.
I kind of agree with that, because I realize the importance of learning your state language, right? Because even
absolutely,
in,
yeah.
if you go to specific states like Gujarat or Bengal or down south,
Mhm.
Irrespective of where you come from, if you're not a native
Right.
state, they will take, they will make the effort to ensure that they speak the state language. And I kind of feel that I got left out, that I can't hold a conversation in the state language that I'm living in. mainly because I never interacted with the local people throughout my life. We just never had that the opportunity. But my mother, my father, and my grandparents, on the other hand, they interacted a lot with the locals because of business and a lot of other things. So
Right.
pick up Marathi like that. I still don't. I still can't. And I'm really
Yeah.
hoping my daughter picks it up, at some point, because I think it's very important. If you want to live
No, it is.
that you are, I think it's important.
Yeah, and absolutely.
So-
I feel like we are born in Mumbai and in the state of Maharashtra. I know it is like, I mean, to me, honestly, I'm a Maharashtrian, because
Yeah.
that's where I'm born. Just
Yeah.
I know that I do not belong to the culture and all the stuff. But what else can I be? I am Maharashtrian, and it's very sad that I do not know how to speak Marathi fluently.
Precisely.
But having said that, is your son so far learning any other languages in school as yet, or it's only English and
A very little bit of Spanish he's learning. So hopefully that's because that's the second language in United States. So apart from
Okay.
our mother tongue, English, and then hopefully he will learn Spanish.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
cool. Thank you so much, Yunus. It's been great talking to you
Uh,
and just learning about your journey and everything. So thanks so much.
No, thank you guys for having me. I mean, to be honest with you, being here, and I'm very thankful to Mark Zuckerberg, to be seriously, because of WhatsApp and all this stuff. It has made the life so easy that I don't really miss Mumbai, is because I know exactly what my friends are doing. I know what my mom is doing. I know what my sister is doing. And coming here, like I said, my in-laws and stuff have become a very great help for my kids too. And they are learning a lot of values from my in-laws.
Yeah.
Like I said, I put in like 80, 90 hours a day, a week, and then my wife is also full-time working. So it is very important to have elders, in your life.
That's actually a very good note to end this conversation on. That the support system that we have at our homes, if not, we are nothing else. If it wasn't for our parents or our spouse's parents. So that's
Absolutely.
I think all of us in this conversation appreciate that, because all of us are sort of living that life right
Yeah.
now. And I think we are just fortunate to be in our over mid-30s and pushing 40s, and we still have that kind of support at home. I know it's completely different from the American life, but hey man, we are proud of it.
No, absolutely. And you know what? When Nazir also told me that you guys are coming up with this podcast and all this stuff, I was really excited and thrilled, because I know the industry is actually going towards audio a lot, and you guys are really doing. I hope I mean, you guys just break all the boundaries and stuff. And on Spotify, you guys are like ranked in top 10.
Hey,
Inshallah.
thanks, man. We hope to be there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a genuine effort. You guys didn't let it lose. There is a genuine effort. So obviously the fruits will come. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you so much.
Man, Nadir, one thing you didn't tell me about Yunus was that he genuinely listens to our podcast and follows it. So it was really nice to kind of talk to one of our listeners also, in a way.
Yeah, because I think America as a market for podcasts is so evolved that everyone is kind of in that zone. And I know Yunus travels quite a bit in his car, from home to work. So he tells me that he listens to the podcast on a regular basis. But it's nice to kind of catch up with with a friend who you've spent all your life with, and kind of inside out who he is. And now suddenly, after all these years, when you do a nice proper catch up as fathers, it just puts things in perspective, irrespective of which part of the world you are. It's the same grind, it's the same outlook. Obviously situations are different, but you just kind of feel proud of the fact that, okay, you know what, he turned out fine as a kid, and now as a father as well.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's what all our friends are saying while listening to us. So
Yeah, well, I hope so.
So that's it from us for this episode. We continue with our Father's Month special. So stay tuned for the next couple of episodes we've got later this month. Until next time, you can write into us at popsinapod@gmail.com. Send us your feedback. Send us anything you want us to know.
Yeah, or you can follow us on Instagram or on Facebook. Just search for Pops in a Pod. And like our stuff, share our stuff, throw in a comment or two, say nice things, say not so nice things also. That's fine. Feedback's always welcome. And yeah, just keep listening, and we shall see you guys next Friday.
All right. Until next time, here's Peter Pop.
And this is another Pop. See you guys soon.